development and getting ready for an opponent to play in the bowl game?
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good mix of it through the first couple weeks. Now, I know Coach has a couple periods at the end of practice that are devoted to development, but to me, I think it's really, really important that we have a good game week prep for Iowa. Because when you get down, obviously we'll leave for a couple days, and when you go down there, there's all kinds of distractions, and it's not easy to focus. So, that's why they give you 2 weeks for the Super Bowl and things like that, so you can get your work done here. So yesterday was like a Tuesday practice, today's like a Wednesday practice, and then tomorrow's signing day, and then Thursday's a Thursday practice. So we need to have a good Thursday and Friday practice before we leave here. We're not ahead, not behind. We're about right on schedule. We just got to get back on track a little bit to playing football.
What was your reaction when you found out the guys who were the NFL draft prospects will be playing this game?
I didn't expect anything otherwise. So they're team guys. John, I guess you're talking about probably John, Tez, and Jeffrey. I wouldn't have been surprised or disappointed if they made another decision, but honestly, it didn't even occur to me that they wouldn't play, because that's the type of players they are. And I'm not judging others who make that decision. Everybody makes what decision's best for them, but I think the thing that's unique about Tez isn't from Mississippi, but Mississippi kids and players on our team is they have great pride, and they're very proud to be SIP boys, and they're proud of what this unit and this team have accomplished, and I think they want to see it through.
Some of those same guys, when you were at the Broyles Award ceremony and got the news that you didn't win the award, some of those same guys on Twitter, they had your back, showed a lot of support. Do you think that this group that you coached this year sort of came together and got closer than maybe any other that you've coached ever?
That's a pretty strong statement, but yeah, I'm really looking forward. I keep telling them I'm looking forward to the Iowa game, because I don't want this season to end. I really like coaching this group of guys. I'm looking forward. We're down to 2 weeks. This is the last 2 weeks. This 2018 Mississippi State football team and Mississippi State defense will be together. It'll never be the same after that. Not worse, not better. Just it won't be the same. And that's, we all understand that's how college football works. But I really like this group of guys, and I want them to be locked in and focused. And I want us to go out and play to our best against Iowa, because I think they deserve to do that.
What do you see from Iowa, from their offense?
Yeah, they're really good. I think it's like everything. They're a little different than the other teams we played. Not better, not worse. They're just different in that they have unique personnel groupings. They have personnel groupings and formations that we don't play against a lot. And not that it's anything that we can't handle if we play up to our capabilities, but it's just different. So it requires a little bit of practice. And they come out in 2 backs, 1 tight end, and run traditional pro-style run game. They come out in 2 backs, 2 tight ends. They come out with 1 back, 3 tight ends, and those aren't things that we see in our conference and our league all that often. And I think that's what everybody likes about the bowl season. Seeing those unique matchups and things like that. So I'm kind of excited, candidly, to have a couple weeks to prepare for these guys. And it's they're very, very straightforward. The quarterback's big and strong. He's a pro-style quarterback. He can make a lot of good throws. The running backs run hard. The receivers are all very, very good, very, very consistent. I know one of the tight ends chose not to play in this game, and I watch him on film. He's really good, so I'm kind of glad that he's not playing. But the other tight ends they're all really good too. 38 is a big-time tight end, probably one of the best we played all year, if not the best. The O-line works well together. Coach Ferentz and his son do an outstanding job with the offense, and it'll be a great challenge. It's just different for our guys. So it's not an offense that we see every day. We see bits and pieces of it from teams in our league, but we don't see this on as consistent a basis as we'll have to play against these guys. The advantage for us, though, too, some of the formations they line up in, I'm not sure we've seen some of them, so they won't really know how we're going to line up either.
Yeah, you get to dust off the 3 linebacker sets.
Yes, some.
Yeah.
We have some different personnel groupings in this week, and that's when they get into 2 backs, some of that's going to be required. And Willie and Leo and Errol are going to get to play old school football, 2-back run football, powers, and not really powers, but leads and outside zones and things like that. So it's going to be fun.
How is the communication different with 3 linebackers on the field as opposed to a nickel?
It's not really. As a matter of fact, a lot of our calls are the same. Other than the fact that it's a nickel or a 3rd linebacker in the game, in most of our playbook stuff, it actually says N/S, so it's nickel and Sam. I mean, we can do. There'll be some things that we'll do in the game with John Abram probably playing that position, just because he can. So, that's part of our strategy.
In a big picture sense, in today's game with so much offense, for a team to allow just 12 touchdowns over the course of a season, and over half those in just 2 games, I mean, professionally speaking, do you expect to see that kind of play in today's college game?
It was a fun year, and like I said, we have really smart, tough, aggressive, unselfish players. That bought into the system. I mean, again, one of the things, because the team had success in 2017, one of the things when I first got here, trying to sell myself and our program, was it's not the coaching or it's not the schemes, it's the players, and I believe that. And I think we did a good job putting the players in position to make plays, and when the plays were there to be made, more often than not, we made them. And the thing that really was unique about this team, I thought, is they did a really good job. There's not anything like you don't look at the unit and say, boy, they're good against the run, but not against the pass. They're good on this, they're not that. I'm not saying they're the best of all time, but there's not really a weakness, And I think everybody thought all year the front four, the D-line would be the strength, and it is. Don't get me wrong, the D-line's the strength, but I think the secondary stepped up and played on a real good basis. And you look at, everybody always asks, well, what are you going to do next year? I mean, next year the team will look a little different, but we'll find a way to be successful. And the strength of the group maybe at linebacker and in the secondary next year. And certainly we return some really, really good D-ends. We'll need to find some guys to play D-tackle. But, you ask, I mean, to give up, whatever, to give up 12 points a game over 12 games, to give up 12 touchdowns, to give up 60 points at home all year, that's 7 games, and only 3 touchdowns, and no touchdowns rushing at home. Those are things that, after the Iowa game, we'll all be able to look back and say that was something we could be real proud of.
That secondary you mentioned, Cam Dantzler's development, I thought was pretty key to that.
Yep.
But just evaluate him and his growth just in your time here.
All those guys, I mean, Jamal, Cam, and Mo at the corner position have all been real steady Eddie. And, I think, I certainly think Cam's put himself in a discussion to be a top flight corner coming into next season, and he's very proud, and he practices with great fundamentals and techniques, and Coach Buck does a really good job with him, and there's not really much of anything that he can't do. I mean, he can cover, he can press, he can play off, he can play cover 2, he can blitz. I mean, he had a good blitz against Alabama, had a big sack. He supports the run well, he tackles well. He had a nice crack replacement against Ole Miss on a 3rd down and short play. Does a big play. So, I mean, all those guys. The guy that I, because I had heard that he'd struggled in the past, the guy that I thought had an excellent year too is Smitherman. I think Mo's interception against Ole Miss was as good a play as we had in the secondary all year, and he just practices so well. He makes mistakes, but when he gets coached hard, he doesn't pout about it, he doesn't suck his thumb, he doesn't look to someone else and, shrug his shoulders. He just takes coaching well, and I think that's why he had a really good year too.